Hello, welcome back to Pedal and Ash. I'm your learner Glithy, and it's week 21, or I guess as I was tracking it, it's the 17th through the 23rd because I post this on Sundays. Today I wanted to talk about a few things that happened this week, and maybe it'll help learners like me. So let's start with kind of the look back. So this week was rough. Like, let me tell you guys, rough. Uh, First off, on Sunday, I got a migraine and wow, it took me out. I did get it after I did my morning stuff. So every morning I study Japanese. So I did get that done. But I spent the rest of the day in a migraine coma basically. And then on Monday, it was still pretty bad. And so what I did was instead of doing a lot of things, I did a scaled back version of my plan. So I think I've not really talked in depth about my plan, but I try to study for about 2 hours every morning. And so instead of doing everything, um, I did do Boon Pro because it's in dark mode, so it doesn't really bother me. And I did listen to podcasts in the dark. So that was kind of the only study I did. Migaku's kind of bright colors, so I avoided that on Monday. Um, and then I picked it back up on Tuesday. On the other side of this, on Tuesday, I want to say Tuesday, I got lots of energy and I did so many things. Like, I did all my Japanese study. I pretty sure I put up my journaling video. Um, Feel free to watch those shorts or ignore them. I'm trying, guys, to improve my Japanese. Uh, and then somehow, I guess I overdid it because Thursday and Friday, tired again. Part of that I think might have also been due to the weather. Usually, rainy days are kind of comforting to me, but I think uh, a little bit post migraine or not migraine, maybe pressure from the atmospheric changes caused me to be a little bit more tired. I did do all my stuff, like that wasn't the problem. It's just I felt really tired, so I didn't go as hard as I normally go. And so I wanted to talk about that a little bit in that it's probably a good idea to, if you're going to do a very harsh kind of study plan like I do. So my study plan is 2 hours every morning. And I really try to do every morning, which I think could be difficult for some people. But on days I feel bad or, excuse me, super tired, I do a relaxed version. And so what that might be is I still do 2 hours if I feel like I have the energy, but sometimes it's just 1 hour and I modify it to kind of restful things. So Boon Pro, if uh, it's okay, like the dark colors usually don't bother me when I'm having problems. Uh, Sometimes I do Migaku in bed just for like the relaxing moment. I know that like it's not as seemingly engaged as maybe sitting up, but it's a bad day. Uh, Another thing that I do is instead of watching YouTube, I listen to podcasts. A lot of the learning channels that I use, like Migaku Real Japanese or Bite Size Japanese, and I think a few others, are both visual and podcast. So I'm an old lady. I use Apple Podcasts and I just lay in bed in the dark and listen to podcasts. Um, I think it's a good way to not necessarily uh, do 100%, but still feel accomplished without falling behind. I try to not pressure myself. I do, of course, have like really bad days where I do nothing, but this week wasn't that bad. Like I had a migraine, but the coma day was luckily only one day. I've had it where it's been like, 2, 3 days, and then I do nothing. But this week, I was able to still do a fair amount of things, including this video, as you can see. uh, Next, I want to talk a little bit about where I'm. Oh, wait. Next, I want to talk about getting back into it and a change I made. So, I talked a little bit about scaling back how much I do and doing a lot. Um, One thing I changed is I wasn't really tracking what I was doing, which I know probably sounds dumb considering how much I do. Um, but I just never thought about it. And so now I am a Notion girly. Uh, I'm not gonna like go into it. I'm not super about that life, but I enjoy it. So for that, I started tracking my immersion and really seeing like how much time I'm putting in as opposed to what I say I do. Um, and actually, I was pleasantly surprised. It looks like overall I put in about as much as I say I do, and sometimes more. So it's made me feel pretty good. Um, and it was good to look back on this week when I was having trouble. Uh, the other thing I do on Notion is for future journal entries. Right now, if you listen to those shorts, those are from a prompt system. But in the future, I want to just do like random journal entries. And my goal is I'm collecting sentences and phrases that I really want to use. So one of them is like smartphone addiction, iPhoneism, or sumahoism, sorry. And that I'm really looking forward to making an entry about my experience with that. Uh, Another thing that I think is a change to my system is using those shorts to try to uh, continue to do my audio journal. I do the audio journal every day, almost every day. I think I skip Saturdays. Uh, but I thought that considering this is an accountability channel, that uploading what I feel are my best two of the week is a nice little add-on. Um, I going to strictly stick to Wednesday and Friday to upload them, but I thought it was a nice little touch. If I do other things, I might consider other ideas. And then let's talk about challenges. So, my challenge this week, I should say challenges. I have two issues. One was for some reason I did Boon Pro like a lot, like too much. So, usually I do it like once a day in the morning. But I found myself like checking the site, and when it would hit like 10 on review or more, I would do reviews. Uh, I think in the science for SRS, once a day is really fine. Like you can do them multiple times a day, but I think the returns are kind of diminishing. But the challenge is I feel super behind on grammar. Like, uh, I was a hobbyist Japanese studier for years and years, and now that I'm serious, I'm seeing some gaps. And the gaps aren't bad. Like the stuff I'm missing in N4, I understand pretty quickly. Uh, Aside from like those few I panicked about a couple of weeks ago. But generally, everything else is fine. I think so far. Um, but I found myself doing these reviews because I guess um For some reason, I feel like the 19, or I guess 18 months that I have before I take the JLPT2 are getting to me, even though I have so much time and I am technically, I'll say I'm in 3. Um, when I originally decided to become a serious learner, I did go to a teacher, and the teacher assessed me at about I should be working on in 3, and that I'm pretty conversational. But I don't know. I guess I feel like an imposter. So, yay, imposter syndrome. Uh, and then the other challenge is my listening. So, for this, I think it's because I was neglecting listening and now I'm trying to focus on it. And as I said, like it's my big focus this month. But um with Kinsen Okaeri, I feel like I understand the full like 90% that Migaku says I understand. But when I switch to other things that are supposedly 90%, maybe they talk faster or what's the other thing? Um oh yeah, use a little bit more of the words that I know passively but haven't encountered in the wild as much. It doesn't feel like I'm improving, which is part of the intermediate plateau. Like I will admit, I know what I'm getting into, but it just yeah, I guess it's just that it hurts. It's a surprise of like the utmost order. Um and I think that going forward I have to like keep up with that. Um Once again I used a weird thing, but it's supposed to be surprise. Surprise is right, I think. um and so uh there's not really a way, I think, to reassure myself that I'm getting better at listening. I just have to come back to previous things I've listened to and see if I understand more. Like maybe there's a way to like check, but I don't know what that is. Um, I think it's easier with uh, other types of learning, like, hey, I learned a new kanji, or look, I did well on this grammar concept, but listening, I feel like there's not really a way to measure your growth. Like, of course, you can measure your understanding, but feeling that growth is really hard. Um, we'll see next month if I have the same problem with reading comprehension. Uh, I think those are the main things. Uh, the look forward is just that it's the last week of May. I did change my system, so probably I'm not gonna try to do anything new. I'm probably just going to focus on getting back into doing the 2 hours confidently, or at least smoothly. Smoothly might be the better word considering like how disruptive this week was. Um, but I think that that's something to keep in mind that you can have bad weeks. Or in the case of me, I have, right, chronic migraines, and energy issues. And so it's a good idea for me to kind of plan my days or my weeks based on my energy. So, like, when I wake up in the morning, go, is this a good day? Or is this a normal day? Is this a bad day? What can I do? And most importantly, if you're in the similar kind of situation with chronic illness or just being a sleepy bitch like me, maybe taking the time to like analyze your energy and plan your day based off of that and not feel guilty if you can't do as much. So that's all for me this week. I think I went longer, but I don't use scripts anymore. So we're seeing how this goes. So, once again, thank you for listening and see you next week.